The phone rang just once. Amina was washing her hands when she heard it, sharp, unexpected, breaking the quiet afternoon. She wiped her fingers on her dress and stared at the screen. An unknown number. She almost ignored it. Almost. When she answered, there was silence on the other end. No greeting, no explanation. Then a familiar breath. She recognized it instantly. The pause before words, the hesitation she once knew by heart. "I didn't know if you'd answer," the voice said softly. Amina closed her eyes. Years ago, he had walked away without a goodbye. Years ago, she had waited for a call that never came. Now, after time had done its work, after healing had taught her how to stand alone, the call had finally arrived. And in that moment, Amina understood something painful and clear. Some calls don't come to reconnect. They come to remind us of what we survived.
Amina didn't speak right away. She held the phone close, listening to the quiet on the other end. Not the silence of connection, but the silence of hesitation. Once that pause would have frightened her. It would have made her heart race, her thoughts spiral. But now, it felt different, calmer. He waited for her to say something, anything. "I wasn't sure you'd still have my number," he finally said. Amina smiled faintly, not with joy, but with understanding. There had been a time when she memorized every sound of his voice, every pause, every breath between words. Now, she noticed something else. The confidence was gone. The certainty had faded. This wasn't the voice of someone who had come back. It was the voice of someone who had been left behind by his own choices. Amina took a slow breath. For the first time, the silence no longer belonged to her.
"I thought about you," he said quietly. The words hung in the air, heavy but unfinished. Amina leaned against the wall, letting them settle without rushing to respond. He spoke about the city, the noise, the long nights that never felt like home. He admitted that leaving had been easier than staying, that chasing a future felt safer than facing love. "I didn't know how to be enough," he confessed. Amina listened without interruption. Once she would have tried to reassure him. Once she would have carried his doubts as her own. But now she heard the truth beneath his words. He wasn't calling to return, he was calling to be forgiven. And forgiveness, she realized, was not the same as reopening a door. As he waited for her response, Amina understood something she had never known before. Sometimes the truth comes late, but clarity comes right on time.
Amina looked out the window as he spoke, watching the road stretch quietly into the distance. She had remembered how many times she had imagined him walking back on it, but imagination and reality rarely meet. He asked how she had been, if she was happy, if she had moved on. The questions felt gentle, but they carried weight, not because they mattered, but because they once did. "Yes," she finally said, a single word, honest, complete. There was a pause on the other end, longer this time. She didn't explain. She didn't defend her happiness. She didn't reopen old wounds with careful words. Instead, she chose clarity. "I hope you find what you're looking for," Amina added softly. It wasn't dismissal. It wasn't cruelty. It was closure. As the call ended, Amina felt something lift from her chest. Not sadness, but relief.
After the call ended, Amina stayed where she was, the phone still pressed gently against her palm. The screen had gone dark, but the echo of his voice lingered. Not loudly, not painfully, just enough to be remembered. She stepped outside as the evening light softened the world around her. The village road lay quiet, unchanged, patient in the way only time can be. Once, she had stood on that same road believing that love meant waiting, believing that if she stayed still long enough, someone would return. But life had taught her a different lesson. Waiting had not made him come back. Growing had made her move forward. She realized that the call hadn't reopened her wounds. It had shown her how fully they had healed. The sadness she expected never arrived. Neither did anger, only understanding. Some people come into our lives to stay. Others come to teach us how to stand alone. Amina thought about the girl she used to be, the one who measured time in promises and hope in silence. She felt compassion for her, but she no longer lived there. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Amina turned away from the road and walked back toward the village. not because she was afraid to look back, but because there was nothing left to wait for. The call had come late. The apology had arrived after healing. And love, she finally understood, does not ask you to pause your life for someone who chose to leave. For the first time, the past felt complete, and Amina walked forward, free. Subscribe for more African tales of love, loss, and the lessons life leaves behind.